Scotland has nearly 11,000 hectares of vacant and derelict land. This legacy of our industrial past means that nearly a third of the Scottish population lives within 500 metres of a derelict site. These sites blight communities, they harm wellbeing and they limit opportunities, but they could be so much more. In fact, they could help us to tackle some of society's biggest challenges. That's why 2 years ago, the Land Commission got together with SEPA to establish a national task force to work out how to transform Scotland's approach to tackling vacant and derelict land. The task force has now published its final recommendations and is calling for a concerted national effort to bring these sites back into use and make sure no more sites are abandoned. We need action now to make sure that those left behind with the last phase of Scotland's economic development are at the forefront of the next phase.
Scotland's register of vacant and derelict land needs to be updated to include a wider range of information to help bring sites back into use through the planning system. The information on the register needs to be presented on a map that is easy to understand and everyone can access.
Update Scotland's regeneration strategy to focus on place-based regeneration and land reuse to empower communities. It needs to be easier to buy land for reuse. There should be new laws for compulsory sales orders or making people sell land if they are not using it, and a review of the current ways land is bought and sold by the public sector.
The public sector needs to take a more active role in development. In doing this, we need to plan the world we need. The new National Planning Framework should put derelict sites that have been unused for a long time as a top priority. And fixing up brownfield sites or sites that have buildings on them should be given a priority in the National Infrastructure Investment Plan.
There should be an increase in funding to support local authorities to bring vacant and derelict land back into use, along with an update of the way the Vacant and Derelict Land Fund operates. The Scottish Government should make sure the money is going to the parts of Scotland that need it most, and we need across the public sector to look at investment in a way that includes wider benefits of wellbeing and inclusive growth.
New ways of funding improvements to vacant and derelict land should be developed. This should include a new compensation mechanism so that the loss of biodiversity from building on green areas is made up for by improving derelict sites. It should also include a new fund which can be used to create a publicly owned bank of development land, and which can provide money for communities to redevelop small derelict sites that are causing harm in their local areas.
It needs to be unacceptable to let land become derelict or left vacant indefinitely. Public and private sector organisations should embed this into their corporate social responsibility objectives. Public funding should only be given to responsible landowners. Plans should be made for public land and property that is lying empty to be brought back into use. The government should use the tax system to encourage landowners to repurpose empty commercial property. This will help prevent a new legacy of vacant and derelict land as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic.
Landowners should review the land and buildings they own on an ongoing basis. They should identify buildings and sites that they might not need in the future and put plans in place to avoid sites falling into disuse. To help with this, existing support for public sector asset disposals needs to be put in place.
Scotland should set up a national programme of investing in green infrastructure to bring our legacy of derelict land and buildings back into use in an environmentally friendly way. This should be done in ways that support jobs and skills development and help to rebuild community resilience. The programme should focus on urban green spaces, regeneration that's led by communities, low carbon housing and renewable energy, and it should be planned and funded over several years to attract long-term investment. Local authorities should take responsibility for coordinating this at the local level and prioritise reusing sites that meet the needs and wishes of local communities.
Scottish Government should make a clear commitment to eradicating urban dereliction, putting arrangements in place for keeping track of this goal, and to appoint a national coordinator to help achieve this. Our recommendations require commitment across every level of government, as well as public and private sectors and landowners. The proposals not only call for a commitment to good practice by owners, but recommend using planning guidelines, tax laws, and other actions such as compulsory sales orders to halt the practice of leaving land unused. And we all need to work together to change attitudes and daily practice within the planning, development and regeneration sectors to galvanise a new approach to vacant and derelict sites. Scotland cannot afford to ignore this land any longer, and as the pandemic changes the way we work and shop, we cannot let it happen again.